Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is September 30th, 2025. And I've been getting so many emails today. So many people saying, hey Dean, where is this pump? Dean, what's going on? I thought altcoins were supposed to follow Bitcoin. In this episode, I'm going to tell you why we are likely hours away from that move in altcoins. And I'm going to tell you why. And we're also going to talk briefly about this whole Uptober thing. Is it an actual thing? Is there seasonality in crypto? Should we expect a bullish October? And if so, why? All that and more. Let's get started. Let's look at Bitcoin first on the hourly time frame. Okay, last episode we discussed how we were likely beginning an impulse, right? And that impulse was likely to take us to the top of this channel around between 124 and 125. But how many people may get confused because they assume that we're just going to go in a straight line. But as we know, impulses they generally follow a 5-wave impulse, right? As indicated by Elliott Wave analysis. And the first major retracement of an impulse is wave 2. Wave 1 initiates the impulse. Wave 2 is the first major retracement. I believe we are currently in wave 2. And remember, wave 2 takes you down about 60 to 62% of what wave 1 did, okay? So don't be surprised if we get a major pullback. And as I said in the last episode, it's very hard to time markets, extremely difficult. And there is really no telltale timing of markets except with wave 2. That's the only area in Elliott Wave analysis that gives a clear indication as to the timing of a move, okay? In all of Elliott Wave analysis, there to my knowledge, and I've read Prechter and Frost backwards and forwards, there isn't any good indication of when something is going to happen, except for this. So we know wave 1 generally takes a certain amount of time, and wave 2 generally takes that same amount of time. Okay, so as per my calculations, wave 1 goes to about here, right? The pre-market open on Monday evening, right? Monday at 8 p.m. That was when wave 1 was complete. This to me is our initial break of structure. Let's put this in properly so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get out our corrective flat ABC, and I'm looking at it like this. A, B, C, okay? And so don't be surprised. Let's change the color so we can make sure not to confuse it. Let's do this, okay? This is what I'm expecting, right? I talked about this in the previous episode. Look, wave 2 always happens, and I won't be surprised if it does play out in exactly this way. And as I said, the timing of this move is likely to be in the same amount of time as it took us to go up. And if I'm calculating wave 1 correctly, that's a day and a half. So do expect this wave 2 to complete itself in the coming hours, specifically Wednesday morning. And I told you this in the previous episode, but I didn't have a completed wave 1. Now we have a completed wave 1 because we have a clear initial break of structure right here, okay? So don't be surprised if we get this move Wednesday morning Eastern Standard Time, by my calculations, around 8 a.m. 8 to 10 a.m., I'm expecting this capitulative final move for wave 2. Once we get here, soon after that, do expect your initial moves up for wave 3. Okay? I'm not telling you the exact hour, the exact minute, but do expect after the move on Wednesday morning, Eastern Standard Time, you should get our initial moves into wave 3, which, if you know anything about Elliott Wave analysis, is typically the most impulsive, the fastest, and the longest of the Elliott Wave impulses, or the longest uh, um, portion, the longest segment of an Elliott Wave impulse. So don't be surprised if Bitcoin starts running after that, and that altcoins follow that lead. So it's just a few hours. Right now I'm recording this at around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. So, 8 a.m. Wednesday is what? A little more than 12 hours, like 15 hours away from time of recording. At the same time, do notice exactly what I was saying many episodes back. When you look at price action long enough, one thing you realize, and I have this marked in my trading journal, price action tends to settle into very nice patterns that you're like, oh, that makes sense. That looks elegant. What would you see here? You would see a bullish reversal pattern, inverse head and shoulders. If we got that wave 2 down to this area around 110, 111, and then we came back up for wave 3, you would essentially be seeing an inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern at the bottom of this channel. Okay, so that's my Bitcoin analysis. I do still think that's valid, and now I'm giving you some timing, which is not something we typically do here, because you can read the charts all you want. The timing is extremely difficult and an elusive aspect to most even great technical analysis, in my estimation. The exception to that is in a wave 2, if you correctly identify an Elliott Wave 2, you should be able to time it given a correctly identified wave 1. All right, so that's what I'm seeing on the Bitcoin chart. Now, it's not, or is it, an accident or coincidence that tomorrow is the first day of October? Okay, in traditional finance, in that area of analysis, many talk about October being, bullish seasonally, right? Seasonality. Why? Because you tend to have a lot of Fed announcements that are bullish. You have Santa rallies. Basically, it's the final push economically of the fiscal year, and you're cleaning up the books. So, markets tend to go up, and people just, they end the year on a high. And if you look at Bitcoin, apparently in 12 years of trading, 10 of those years have seen 20+% gains, net gains in October. I don't talk about seasonality much in crypto, and I've said this before because the end value is too small. 12 years of trading is not enough to get rigorous data on, a seasonal occurrence. Okay, also, you're dealing with a market that doesn't have a shut off, a shut on. It doesn't have quarterly earnings. It doesn't follow a regular calendar, but it does go with traditional markets liquidity, right? So if the dollar follows, sort of a seasonal, sort of regulated calendar, then maybe Bitcoin does as well. But again, the end value is too small, so I don't think any good analysis can be made from such small sample sizes. However, we've been waiting for a big move in altcoins for quite some time. And like I said in the Bitcoin analysis, we're likely to see that once we bottom out tomorrow morning, and then Bitcoin starts this wave 3. Okay, it can start the wave 3 as soon as it bottoms out, or it can start it after a small consolidation, so it may take another day to consolidate at these lows. But I believe that with this move up in wave 3, you get that big move that I've been talking about in altcoins. This is the biggest opportunity altcoins have to move off of the lows, as I've been saying, right? And this is the subject of what many people have been emailing me today. Hey, Dean, what about that move? What about that move? When are we going to get that move? When are we going to get that move? If we're going to get it, it's going to be here. So watch out for that. Now, even still, although we can see technically that 10 out of the 12 years that Bitcoin's been trading have been net bullish in October, should we expect another bullish October? I think so, because I believe that you're going to get this very soon in the immediate short term, and Bitcoin's going to 125, so it's likely to make an all-time high in Q4, in the beginning of Q4. But after that, we do expect a massive drop. And is that massive drop going to happen in October, or will it happen in November? I don't know. So again, it's not that important, to be sort of zoomed in to the idea of seasonality and should October be bullish. The most important thing that should be on your minds as traders, as analysts, is that Bitcoin is in a very dangerous area. And right now, in the immediate short term, you're looking at a move to the upside. But once you finish that move to the upside, there's nothing bullish about it. So this should be top of mind. Not that October is going to be bullish, because if we hit this in October, once we get here, we may end October bearish, because that is going to be a big move, much bigger than this paltry move to 125, right? That's a minimal move vis-a-vis the larger move down. So I really want to put that in perspective. It's not about seasonality and, oh, it's October, it's going to be bullish because it's October. No, look at the price action, look at the levels. This level right here, you should be bullish in the short term. This level right here, you should be bearish. There's nothing bullish about it. And don't be surprised if you get that initial break quickly, because on the high time frame, everything's finished. So you may not get the time to reconsider. Oh, I don't know, maybe we continue. No, don't be surprised if you get that initial break immediately. Okay, so that's my take on seasonality and Bitcoin and Uptober 2025 and what I expect there. Although for altcoins, I do believe October and Q4 is extremely bullish. Okay, why? Because on the whole, in the aggregate, not every altcoin, but the altcoins that are on support right now are not going to make lower lows. What does that mean? I'm pretty much saying that if we do indeed get that move in altcoins that we expect, right, off of the lows, this first move gives you this right here, and the retracement comes back to this support, but then the second move moves way off of these lows. So I don't expect in any way, shape, or form altcoins, generally speaking, the bullish ones on support, to make any lower lows. So for altcoins that are on support, yes, I do expect an Uptober. Yes, I do expect a green October, a very green October, and an even greener Q4. Okay, so that's my take on seasonality with Bitcoin and altcoins. Again, not every altcoin, but just the altcoins on support. And that's exactly why you need to really be discerning in which altcoins you're investing in at this point in time, because not everything's going to run equally. When Bitcoin starts moving, everything's going to start moving, but you're going to see certain things move a little more than others. But then certain things are going to be like not moving much at all. And other things, once they retrace, they're going to retrace even more than they moved up. Don't wait until then to understand that certain things are not at all bullish and actually high time frame bearish, and then others are extremely bullish and at the very beginnings of what we call the crypto bull market or alt season. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting in the altcoin space. This is the move I'm expecting to happen when Bitcoin starts its wave 3, right? So again, in altcoins, in the aggregate, looking at this others chart, that's about a 80% move off the lows, okay? And then you can also see this corroborated by this others dominance chart, which is rearing to break out. And when it breaks out, I'm going to pull back on the daily. When it breaks out, don't be surprised if altcoins just for a very long time after this breakout completely demolish Bitcoin, because you can see here you have an inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern that is essentially breaking out against Bitcoin. Some people are like, hey Gene, I don't think altcoins are bullish right now. Look at this USDT dominance chart. And I haven't looked at it, but apparently it's forming an inverse head and shoulders, which means if USDT is forming an inverse head and shoulders, you know, it's not good to be in altcoins or something like that. And it's an indicator, but with any indicator, you have to understand what blind spots there are. At this point, I will repeat, the best indicators for altcoins, generally speaking, is the others dominance and the others indicator. Not USDT, not total 3, not total 2. If you're using those, you have not, you don't understand. You don't understand. Any indicator, even these that we're looking at right now, others and others dominance, have their blind spots. You have to know what those are. You have to know what the limitations of your indicators are. And again, indicators are not a substitute for reading pure price action. So if you don't know how to read pure price action, those indicators aren't going to save you. I don't care, how well you think they reflect the general state of the market. So right here, once this breaks out, I don't care what the USDT dominance chart says. Once this others dominance breaks out, this is it. Don't expect for at least a year, I'm estimating, for a long time, don't expect Bitcoin to beat out those altcoins that are on support. It's not even going to be close. It's not even going to be close. That's it. Guys, if this was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship consultation service, where we actually identify those altcoins that are likely to do exactly that, beat the hell out of Bitcoin for the next year, year and a half, however long this alt season cryptocurrency bull market lasts. And in addition to identifying the proper horses, we do also identify high probability support and resistance levels where you can snowball your profits, right, during the course of the bull market. So that's that sign up is at the Buy Me a Coffee link that's in the pinned comment below. Also, I have a single asset analysis service, which I'm glad I started because a lot of you seem to find this useful. If you don't want to make the investment of, the crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, the time investment, the monetary investment, the because that's like a full on like trading thing. Yeah, if you just want my take on one asset or another asset, right now it's super cheap I'm telling you, once this all plays out, Bitcoin goes to where I think it's going to go, and altcoins do what they're going to do, the price for that is going to have to reflect the market demand. It's going to, because, more and more, institutions reaching out, individuals reaching out, my time is going to be slim, and I'm going to have to up the price. But right now it's just $120. If you're interested in just getting my take on one asset, one indicator, whatever, it could be USDT dominance, it could be the S&P 500, it could be a random stock like Tesla, then send payment, and as soon as I receive it, you can email me whatever you want me to look at, and within 24 hours you'll get that pre-recorded analysis in your email. Okay, and you can also follow up with a couple of follow-up questions, which is fine with me. So that's the single asset analysis service. Just 120 for now, but do expect that to change as things finally play out, as I've been calling for a year plus. And then last but not least, BTCC, my exchange partner, is giving out 10% cash back on any new deposits to their exchange with my sign up link. So all you have to do, sign up with my link, deposit at least 500 USDT or the equivalent, right? Make a single trade, either spot or leverage, wait a week. Typically, it only takes a week, and you'll get your 10% cash back. So if you deposit $20,000, after 7 days, after having made that trade, you should get $2,000 back in the exchange. All right, so that's with the link below, also in the pinned comment. Guys, take care, and let's see what happens in the coming hours. All right, bye.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages, which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin?